when I originally tried to quit gaming, there was probably a 3 month period of time there where I basically was making no progress at all in trying to take hold of my gaming addiction and actually quit it for good. I would I basically knew that I had to quit gaming and that it was necessary for me to get rid of this bad habit if I was to make any extra progress in life, if I was to like not waste my life. So, whenever I would be playing games late into the night, midnight, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and I power off the console, I kind of sit there in the dark and just think, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and I'm never going to play video games again. And I go to bed, fall asleep. Next morning, I'd wake up and my gaming console would still be right there at my desk. And I'd basically keep on telling myself, no, I'm not playing video games today. I have to stop this bad habit. This thing has way too much control over me and I have to distance myself from it. But subconsciously, I kept getting drawn to these games, as everyone else can probably relate to who does actually have a gaming addiction. I could feel that I was dependent on these games for something in my life. Like they were kind of my fix for reality. They were like a drug that kind of boosted me with this sense of purpose and pride and accomplishment and what's that one word? Competence, right? It was like my competence drug. It made me feel like I was actually good at something for once. It made me feel like I was actually making progress in something, that I was going towards a goal, and that I was working on it with definiteness of purpose and stuff like that, which is something all of us, especially me as young men, need. We need some kind of North Star that's guiding us towards a goal. We need some kind of purpose to our life. And I was really, really frustrated that I couldn't really find that purpose from anything else in my life, right? Because the traditional career path that I'm offered and everyone else is offered is that, well, you go to school for 4 more years in high school, which I was in high school, I still am, but you just kind of sit there and you just kind of do your work. You just kind of take all this stuff passively and you try to get the best mark that you can. And then up until then, you're basically, that's all the initiative you can really take for yourself. You might have like 3-4 other hours in the day that maybe you can just like spend working at some kind of slave job. But your own fate, your own independence in life isn't really up to you. And that really pissed me off. The fact that like the default quest for life is kind of like, we just go to college, we get a good job, we marry someone, we settle down, we have kids, we stay in one place, we retire early, we die because we lack purpose and we just quit our job and we think retirement's going to be fun, but it's not. And that's a side topic, but that's not the kind of life that I wanted. I didn't want this life where I was just sitting there taking everything passively and showing up for just some boss at some job every day. So I used video games as an escape from the schooling system, from the employment system. And the reason I kept going back to it is because whenever I quit video games, I would obviously just realize, just like how terrible the outside world was for me, how much I didn't want to live out the current life that was set before me, and B, how much better video games were, what they offered for me that I couldn't get anywhere else, and just like how high dopamine and how fun they were, and not even fun, but like I discussed before, they almost fed my soul in a kind of way. They filled a gap in my soul that I couldn't have filled by anything else in my life at that point. So yeah, that cycle went on and on, where I would just try and quit video games, but then go back, try to quit video games, just go back for a few months, and then I eventually quit. And I'll go over how that happened and like in detail why I did that and how I did that. But once I started quitting video games, I made room in my life to put like true, genuine effort towards actually trying to free myself from. It's kind of cringe to call it like the system, I find, but that's essentially what I set about doing, is trying to free myself from this normal life, trying to discipline myself more, trying to find a more purposeful life outside of what my teachers and my bosses and my parents had set before me. So that's my story up to this point. And basically, for the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about how I went cold turkey from gaming in only 24 hours. It literally only takes 24 hours once you know what you're doing and once you have your paradigm and your life set up in order to support that. And really, quitting gaming for me was pathetically easy once I had the right mindset and the right view on my own life. So, quitting gaming for me was really more of an identity update than anything looking back. It was basically telling myself that I'm not a gamer up here, telling myself that I have better things to do than to play video games, that what I play, the things that I spend my time with, do not define me. I'm not a gamer just because I play video games. That it will not say on my tombstone that I am a gamer. It will say that I was this and that person to this and that, to this and that group of people, right? And not even that actually defines me. So, updating your identity as a gamer to move away from your gaming addiction is really just the process of removing physical things that remind you of your status as a gamer from my proximity, right? So, in simple language, what that basically is I just remove stuff from my room and from my house and from my mind even that remind me that I am a gamer. So this can be things like posters. It was originally my console. It can be memorabilia that I had in my room and like on my windowsill and on my walls that reminded me of video games. It might even be like clothes that I had that reminded me that I was a gamer and that I was this guy who played video games and was proud of it for some reason, that I was wasting away my life like this. And obviously, before I did that, I had to acknowledge that I had a gaming addiction, and that's a whole other can of worms. But I'm assuming that you already know that you have a gaming addiction, because if you don't, then I can't help you. Nobody can help you unless you acknowledge that you have a gaming addiction and take that first step. So, yeah, that's the first thing I did, is really just like remove everything from my actual field of view. I got my console out of there. I got everything out of there, because whenever I looked at my console in my room and saw my different old Nintendo consoles and PlayStation sitting there, I would automatically be reminded that I was this gamer guy, that I was this guy who would go home after school every single day and play video games for 6 hours until I could barely even keep my eyes open, and I'd be destroying my lifestyle, my health, just to play these games, just to sacrifice my health in order to make progress in this and that game. That's for some temporary glory that it offered me. So yeah, busting out of that mindset and that identity that you have of being a gamer, that I had of being a gamer, is definitely the first step. So I just removed everything that reminded me of being a gamer from my life. It's also mental things as well. So I kept reminding myself that I'm not a gamer anymore. I'm a guy who lifts now. I go to the gym every day. I'm trying to increase my bench, my squat, my deadlift, that kind of stuff. I'm disciplined now. I meditate. I gratitude journal. I take cold showers in the morning. I get up early every single morning and I grind on stuff that's not video games that I find more and more purposeful every single day. And that eventually worked. I kept telling myself that I was a more disciplined person, that I wasn't a gamer, that I was taking my life seriously, and then I would do those actions. And then what I was telling myself and these actions that I was taking in my life would start to feed off each other's energy. So I kind of had this positive feedback loop that kept going up and up and up and up and up with positive energy, and that's a great thing to have. So once I have that, I basically just removed dead time from my schedule. By the way, if you're interested in getting my extra help with quitting your gaming addiction, you can check out my course. The link to that is in the description below. It's about 2.5 hours of content that's basically all of my expertise and all of my experience packed into one action step filled course. And I'm confident it'll help you quit video games within the next 2 weeks if you watch all of it and apply all of its steps. So check that out if you want. But what removing dead time from your schedule is basically you plan out what you'll do every day. Now, dead time is a name for, that kind of time between doing different things in your day. So maybe you're telling yourself, okay, I'm gonna get off my phone at 8 o'clock and then I'm gonna walk to the bus stop. But then between the time of getting off your phone and walking to the bus stop, there's maybe like 5 minutes where you get distracted by something, or you have like a conversation with someone and then you get sidetracked because you're thinking about something else. Or it's just like downtime between doing two different things. We call that dead time. And what I would do during those periods of dead time during my daily schedule was I would use them as an opportunity to think about video games, to think about what I was going to do when I got home, right? And the certain video games that I was playing, which by the way only happened because I was playing video games to begin with. The moment I stopped playing video games, I stopped thinking about video games as well, like 24, 48 hours after. Because a very unique thing about playing video games is that I was always thinking about video games when I was playing them. They took over my mind. They took over the strategic part of my brain that made me just constantly think about different combos that I could pull off in Super Smash Brothers, different things that I could build in Minecraft, different farms, different challenges I could set up for myself and that I could undergo. And that was basically my headspace for years and years while I was a gamer, was just, okay, what am I doing next in this game? If you just sat me in like a blank room and made me stare at a wall for half an hour, and you like recorded my thoughts, you like got inside my head and tried to see what I was thinking about, I would only be thinking about, what am I going to do next in this game? What's the best strategy for this game? What tactic am I going to use in this game? And all that different stuff, right? Which was all just focused on playing video games, because it's kind of just the male psyche to be oriented towards accomplishing stuff, towards, building a name for ourselves, towards getting better at something that we're truly passionate about. And that was video games for the longest time. And because they're so high dopamine, they basically just took over my brain for the entire time that I was playing them, which is why they're so deadly and dangerous if you're trying to become an athlete or a businessman, or if you're trying to build some kind of career for yourself. That's why it's so dangerous to be playing video games at the same time, because they take over so much of your success-oriented, reward-seeking dopamine system, which could be used to get you closer to your real-life goal. But if you're playing video games, they basically hijack that part of your brain and make you think about gaming for the entirety of your day, which is basically what I experienced. And it was honestly pretty pleasant just thinking about that kind of stuff. But I realized later that it was basically all just a dream. It all just like meant nothing in reality. So yeah, I started planning out what I would do every day. I had like a rough schedule. So I'd wake up at maybe 5 or 6, and I would take some supplements. I would have some coffee. I would eat about 10 grams of raw ginger, which was like a biohacking thing that I had heard about, so I would do that. And then I would go downstairs into my basement where we had a weight set, and I would lift weights for about an hour or an hour and a half, pushing pretty hard, listening to really like hype rock music, that kind of stuff, making it fun for myself. But it was also quite difficult. It required a lot of discipline. So there's kind of these different push and pull factors that I would put into that. And immediately after I was done doing my workout, this is the important part, I would immediately go and take a shower, brush my teeth, get ready for school. Like immediately. There'd be no 5 minutes of scrolling on my phone, 5 minutes of texting a friend, 5 minutes of seeing what this and that influencer is doing on Twitter or Instagram or that kind of stuff. It's just get this one thing done, then get this other thing done, and you minimize the wasted time in between these different things. And yeah, that worked pretty great for me because I would just stop thinking about playing video games for that entire time. And if I just got like one good day of that, my cravings for gaming, as given I didn't play video games for that entire day, would basically just go away. And if I get 2 days of that done, then I'm basically home free from playing video games, I find. Because there have been times that I have gone back to playing video games. There have been times when I've relapsed, either intentionally because I want to know what the actual gaming addiction experience feels like, so I've gone back to playing all these different games I used to play, or just because I kind of had like this trough in the purpose of my life, and I basically just went back to gaming as a means of seeking security and dopamine and a sense of progress. So yeah, even I relapsed. And I think that using this plan with all these different patterns that I set out that I'm describing in this video, it 100% helps in attempting to quit and successfully doing so. So yeah, no dead time in between the different things that I was doing, where I could basically just like think about and dwell on gaming. For the first 2 days of trying to quit video games, that was basically my entire war. It was just this battle to get stuff done in real life that I found meaningful and engaging, like going to the gym, like reading books, that kind of stuff, and bringing my brain away from thinking about video games during the dead time that I might have during the day. And yeah, that's basically what the first 2 days without video games are for me. It's just stop thinking about that thing, that gaming, and think about right now. Think about what you're going to do in the future that's constructive, and focus on the present. Make good decisions in the present. So yeah, last point I want to talk about is just how important what I found to do was in helping me quit gaming, right? Because working out, I like working out because it makes me feel better about myself. It gives me more confidence. It burns off this extra, like, anxious teenage energy that I have, and I can put it into something very constructive. That's the gym, and there's a community around it. There's a lot of teenagers getting who are in the gym nowadays because of whatever degenerate reason maybe, but it offers a community outside of video games that I really needed. Like, for example, when I was originally quitting video games, I got into track and field, and this is funny because it was how I originally started weightlifting, but the one teacher who was coaching me for the throwing event, so I was doing like shot put, discus, that kind of stuff. I remember it was February of 2023, and basically he brought us into like the weight room of our old school, and I never really like lifted weights before. I was considering it because I wanted to get onto self-improvement and stop playing video games, but I saw like this whole like old dusty weight rack with like all these different weights on it. Saw these like different machines, this bench press with like a barbell on it and everything. I was kind of intimidated, but he made us run through like this circuit and basically like showed us all the exercises. And when I started doing that, I got like really into it. I was able to like do I remember it was like shoulder press with like pec flies and that kind of stuff, like raw like pushing movements that they're supposed to develop like your pushing strength, right, for throwing the shot put. And I just got like really into it, just doing these different compound movements and like pushing really hard and getting sweaty and like grunting kind of, and just trying to like move as much weight as I could. And I found that very similar to video games, that I was like leveling up in real life. And I left that workout room kind of changed, kind of feeling a lot better about myself, and proud that I was able to undergo a workout like that, even though there were like these like really intimidating 12th graders in there, kids who are like twice my size, and they're growing beards and everything, and I'm like really intimidated, but I'm just like doing upright rows on the cable machine and that kind of stuff, and I wouldn't let myself get intimidated. And that was an episode where I really just proved to myself that I could overcome obstacles in real life. I could build competence in real life doing physical stuff that I found just as engaging as the video games. And that basically got me started on the fitness path that I'm on today. And obviously I started reading, I started learning how to do skills like cooking, that kind of stuff. And that stuff's really taking up like a lot of my time for the past 2 years, just like learning different stuff, reading fantasy novels, trying to read like old classical books that like everyone talks about and everyone like expects you to know if you're trying to study the classics and that kind of stuff. Basically, just like educating myself on culture and skills and psychology even. That's become kind of like my new obsession, rather than like the lore that I was obsessed with for video games. So yeah, it's worked out pretty well for me, and I hope that this video helped you get the same result as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. That's my story of how I quit video games in 2 days or less. Hopefully this helped you out. Hopefully it gave you a new perspective on how to do things. And if you like this video, obviously please drop a like. Post your comments or questions in the comments below. Drop a subscribe, because there's lots more videos like this coming out in the near future. And I'll see you later.